You're listening to the VegasTourist.com podcast. I'm Mark.
And I'm Pam.
This is episode number 210.
Hit it, Carl.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mark Anthony. The other voice you're hearing, say hi, Pam.
Hi, I'm Pam.
That's Pam. Pam's a tour guide.
Among other things. I have a history, like everybody, a past in Las Vegas.
I always like that. You know, it's like, well, yeah, I'm a tour guide, and then.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like you mean
everybody does something else too.
Yeah. Hi, I'm a cocktail waitress, and then I do this, and this. Okay, well, it's Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's hot.
Yes, very hot today. We're close to 100.
Wow, summer is here.
Mm-hmm.
Finally.
Mm-hmm.
We still have snow up on Mount Charleston there for a while.
We do,
which is unusual for being the end of May, beginning of June. Saturday, was it Saturday? Saturday, we opened our pool officially. We had the grandkids over.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't forget. I just never knew what 6 grandkids with a pool can be like. That first pool day. You know, it's like, okay, you know, they're in the pool by 9 a.m. I'm figuring 2 o'clock maybe. No, they're up there 5, 6 o'clock.
All day long. Same thing at our condo, too.
Oh, my God.
They're out there with everything. All the noodles,
yes.
All the fun little stuff. You know.
I'm not 21 anymore.
Me neither.
Six grandkids. Oh, my God.
I don't know how you do it.
5
it's
hour.
like a little classroom all of its own.
Oh, my God. The night before, we took the eldest granddaughter and her best friend to the Discovery Museum, the Children's
cool.
Discovery Museum. Ever been there?
No, I haven't, but I've heard a lot about it, and I've seen it on PBS. It's a really fun place.
Find somebody's kid that you can borrow because you have to go there with a child.
Mm-hmm.
The adults have to be supervised. It's a really cool place.
Yeah. It's like stuff you can do and touch,
yes.
and the kids just love it.
It was the opening for Clifford the Big Red Dog exhibit.
Oh, yes, the PBS cartoon.
Love it. But I was surrounded by 10 million other kids. But, so I'm like up to, I'm well over kid for the weekend. So, yeah, on Saturday after the grandkids left, Debbie and I, we just sat in the lazy boy. We put the legs up. We turned on. Couldn't even tell you what the movie was. We just whatever. We're just that was it. Then Sunday, what was Sunday? Sunday was Hoover Dam. Monday was West Rim. Mm-hmm. What have you been up to?
Oh gosh. I haven't done too much recently. Honest to goodness, I've been working a lot on this condo I just bought and walking a little bit around the different hiking trails. There's so many hiking trails here.
Isn't that amazing?
In Henderson. I mean, there's no excuse not to get out and hike a little bit and just walk.
No.
Not at all.
What is your favorite tour?
My favorite tour to do is, I still love Hoover Dam. That's still a big favorite. I like Valley of Fire. Red Rock's really fun too.
When you moved here, now you moved here in the 1990s first, right?
Yeah, I did. Mm-hmm.
And were you that active then?
No, I wasn't. I was really busy. I was on call. I was a corporate jet pilot flying Learjets out of Los Angeles, and we'd come up to Las Vegas quite a lot. And I'd fly different construction companies and home builders and different celebrities up here. And I was really busy. And I was constantly going back and forth. And
so
then I moved up here permanently and started working out at the Nevada test site, which is now called other things now.
It's called a lot
Counterterrorism Task Force and things like that.
What were they doing out there back in the 90s?
And well, in the 90s, there's a lot of different projects that get federal funding that work out there.
Okay.
The biggest ongoing thing is the storage of medical radioactive waste.
Okay. For those of you that are new to all this, the Nevada test site is where we dropped the atom bomb 189 times above ground.
Yep.
Does it glow out there still?
Well, there's a lot of craters. It's very pot-marked, a lot of big craters. And there's a lot of destructed homes and anything that they wanted to know what was going to happen to it if it was in a blast.
Right.
So houses, bank safes, cars, and then there was a lot of animal testing, too, that happened out there that was very sad, too.
Have you ever...
Live animals.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Did you ever go through the Atomic Test Site Museum here?
Yes, I have a couple of times.
What do you think of it?
In fact, one of the planes I used to fly is in a picture over there. They
Really?
had helicopters and airplanes, and we do 3 missions. One was ground deposition mapping of radiological material. Another one was plume tracking of radioactive plumes, because radiation is invisible, of course. And then we'd do lost source detection also. So,
Okay.
like, say there was a radioactive satellite that crashed in the ocean, we'd go find it. Say there was a lot of radiation in the ground, and we're checking the leak rate or the lapse rate of it at certain places that are very dirty, such as Oak Ridge, Hanford, Savannah, other different sites
Right.
in the U.S. And then, of course, plume tracking is if there's any kind of a release of radiation from a nuclear power plant, for example, or a container gets cracked or crushed or something, it's going to release radiation. So there's a whole aerodynamics to how that is released, or the way it goes. It'll actually go up to a temperature inversion and flatten out into a plume. It gets tricky when you get a couple of changes of wind. It can actually diverse into multiple plumes. And so what we would do is we would go towards it, of course, upwind, and we would check
Don't worry, you're safe. You're safe.
Yeah. And then you would check the rates of radiation, and we'd have a nuclear technician in the back that would be calling out the rads. And once we got to a certain rate, we'd turn around and make a 180-degree turn out, go back in, change about 10 degrees, come back into that point and turn around back. And we're basically painting the shadow of where this plume is.
Okay.
And so there was certain things that we would do that in. And there used to be other planes that did this years ago, ever since they started exploding bombs and dealing with radiation over in White Sands. And there was actually an old military plane that used to do this that crashed in the Overton Arm. That's in the Overton Arm of Lake Mead that's still there. It
Right.
used to do the same thing.
See, I love the Atomic Test Site Museum because it goes through how that ended up here, what they did there, and then at the very end they put you in that bunker and they simulate it.
Yeah, pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
One time one of those bunker doors opened up. It wasn't secure properly, and it blew open, and there was a little bit of radiation leak that got into one of the command areas.
Wow.
It was quite a story years ago. And they used to joke around, and they would call the command centers the steakhouses because you could get cooked.
Yeah. At the museum, I remember when you came out of the bunker, there was a display there of there was a JCPenney catalog that had a section of atomic resistant clothing. I went, now, okay, A, who tested that? And B, do I really care if my clothes are going to last longer than I'm going to last?
Advertising, isn't it amazing? Selling you something
Love it.
that you really don't need or can't use.
So then you went to L.A. and
I flew for the Walt Disney Corporation, Walt Disney Studios.
you were a Disney person.
I was. It's when you'd walk through the studios,
M-I-C-K.
they would literally be playing the Disney Channel 24 hours a day on the loudspeakers everywhere you walked.
God.
So by the time you went home, you'd be singing "It's a Small World After All," and all these things.
When I was
crazy.
doing my over the road stuff, I had picked up a group in L.A. and they were from Ireland. Apparently, they had spent a couple days at Disneyland there before they took the tour. Take them up to San Francisco, pick up another group. So we had a full bus. All right, go out and we do everything. And and now the Irish were really fun because, well, they were always drunk. They're good drinkers. God, are they good drinkers? Well, we're coming through Zion, and we're coming from top down. And as we're entering the tunnel, my Irish people are on the back half of the bus. And so as we're entering that tunnel, all of a sudden we're hearing in the back of the bus, "It's a small world after all." And by the time we got out of the tunnel, the whole bus, "It's a small..." I cannot go through that tunnel without laughing. I just, it's just, that song just gets in your head.
Yeah, a lot of them do.
So, and for those of you that listen to my stories, you know that up in San Francisco is my favorite museum, and that would be the Walt Disney Museum.
Oh yeah, that's a really nice job.
Walt's life is just,
the Presidio.
Oh my God, that awesome. So then you moved back here. When did you move back here?
Oh gosh, that was 2001.
Okay.
2001.
Right.
I was doing some jet simulation instructing in different big simulators and things like that. And then got into the real estate biz.
Everyone got into the real estate biz.
Didn't we all?
I think I was the only person that did not have a real estate license in the city of Las Vegas. I swear everyone had one.
Hey, Carol, over at Pink used to be a mortgage banker broker, too.
Really?
Yeah, just about everybody did something in the business.
Then you were a concierge, right?
I was a concierge for a little while.
What was that like? What does a concierge do?
Well, it's really fun. You do a lot of different things. My big forte is I would do pre-arrival bookings. So people that were coming in that had reservations, I would contact them in advance and offer to book things for them for perhaps birthdays, anniversaries, things they might have.
Did you work for a specific hotel or?
I worked for Hilton.
Okay.
Yeah, Hilton on the Strip. And we would contact people and book stuff for them and then sell them tickets. And then when they would arrive, we would meet them and give them their tickets and give them a map and answer any questions they had. And that really made them feel a little bit more comfortable when they were coming in because you sort of get overwhelmed when you first check in. And so that helped them a lot.
What was like some of your more strangest requests? This is the internet, so don't worry about it.
I don't really have that many strange concierge requests. I had a lot of strange requests and tour guide stuff, believe it or not. But, not too much. Most of the stuff would be like someone surprising their sweetheart for their anniversary. Right. Or someone coming out that wanted to plan a surprise kind of situation. That was about it. That was, it really wasn't that. I didn't have too much unusual there. Just
fill the room with flowers and
rose petals, right? Make dinner reservations and things. Surprise them. There was one strange guy. He called up and he had a gal coming in with him that was Russian and she didn't speak English. And he wanted to really impress her, but he didn't want to impress her right away. And so he had me book like reservations at Denny's, and weird things like this. And then he really had great reservations at a really nice hotel and a really nice bed and a really nice restaurant and all this. But he wanted to fool her initially. Right. And I thought that was really odd. But that was about the oddest thing that happened in concierge work.
We can say... And like me, you were a chauffeur.
Yes. And that was pretty crazy. We get a lot of partiers here in town. And a lot of people that just think that we all party.
Yeah. Well, we all live on the Strip, don't you know?
Exactly. Everybody's like, where do you live? In between the Flamingo? No. We have suburbs here, just like everywhere else. And nobody seems to realize that.
I always I remember this one. I picked him up. I picked him and his wife up at the Bellagio. We were going to the airport to pick up some friends that were coming in town, and then we were going to cruise the Strip. Okay, all right. So we go to the airport. We pick them up. They're in the car. Now the guy has been belligerent to me since we met. Okay, so I knew the tip was out the window to begin with. So I really didn't care. All right. So he's he's making it like he's this Vegas expert, okay? And so then we're going down the strip, and he's trying to point things out to his friend, and his friend's wife is sitting right behind me, okay? And she's like looking out my window, and I mean, these cars are pulling out in front of us and doing all this, and she goes, God, people here drive horribly. And I'm like, ma'am, they're all from California. We're from California. How dare you say that? And all of a sudden, these two cars almost collided in front of me because they were coming from a lane on each side of me, trying to get in. Okay, I said, okay, now look at the license plate, because at that point we couldn't see the license plate, and I said, they're from California. So sure enough, she goes, oh, okay. So then we get up to, well, back then the Desert Inn was there. And the husband is going, this is the old Vegas. This is the Desert Inn here used to be Binion's. Now, and then the Stardust here back in the 50s, this was known as the Golden Nugget. Mm-hmm. Okay.
No.
Well, he's not telling me to do anything, so I'm going downtown.
Oh.
So as we're going downtown, the guy that he's trying to impress is going, where are we? And I'm like, we're downtown. There's Binion's. There's the Gold Nugget. The guy who rented the car, he was furious. Absolutely freaking furious. We get back to the Bellagio. He gets out of the car and just walks away. The couple that we had picked up gives me $100 tip, goes, that was so cool. That was so funny. You got him. I'm like, yeah, thank you. Got it. So then he became a tour guide. Why?
Did
you see the end?
Yeah, really.
Did you see the end of the writing on the wall?
Well, things did change with limos.
Yes.
As you know, tips and things have changed consistently a lot. There was that big drop in business about 2009, 2010. Yep. When there was a comment about don't go to Vegas, don't spend your money in Vegas, watch your money. And so instantly we
won't
had
say
about,
who said that, but anyway.
Yeah, 60% of our reservations canceled. And so we were really hurting, and that was a big dip in the tips because, of course, we live on our tips.
Yep.
A lot of us are 100% commission in the limo business, and then you get a percentage.
Right.
Now, of course, they're starting to do overtime suits and things like that. But for a while there, we were making really good bucks, taking people to different places and getting a little back. Mm-hmm. And that all changed when of course, the IRS started stepping into the certain places for us getting kickbacks for marketing.
That always pissed me off,
Mm-hmm.
These, these strip clubs and these other clubs were just raking in the millions, and then they got greedy and they wanted to start to penny pinch. It's like you're making $200,000 a night, and you're worried about the $20 you're paying me. And of course, that brings in the IRS, and then it's like, okay, we just ruined our own parade.
We really did. We used to do really well on picking people up and taking them to the strip clubs, of course. And it's so weird when now you go in and you get maybe a tenth of what you would have gotten per person. And not only that, you have to give them your Social Security number so that they report you at the end of the year, and you get a 10-9 from Sapphires. That's always fun to explain to people, at your accounting office,
Well, one of my funniest stories is I had done a series of airport stuff, and oftentimes when you do airports, the people would just hand you whatever they had in their pocket, chips and all that stuff. Well, at the end of the day, I was going to jump a plane with my wife and go back to Minnesota to visit my family. And so, we're back in Minnesota, and I mean, I got this wad of like 1s and 5s, okay? And I think I was at a Target, and I'm paying for all of this stuff, and I'm just one after one after one after one, then a 5, and the guy's looking at me, and I'm like, I'm a stripper. And the guy's eyes just got really huge, and he just kind of like backed up, and my wife finally went, he's a tourist.
Or a waiter even, But saying stripper, all of a sudden, it really changes people's perception of things, doesn't it?
Yeah, so...
I remember one time I was driving the limo. One of the best tips I got was, oh gosh, it was a couple thousand. And it was a gentleman that came down from Carson City who was incarcerated for a little while, and he wanted to come down and go to Pahrump. So we took him down to Sherry's ranch. Actually, we started off with Sherry's Cabaret and sort of lined up what he was going to get. And then we drove him to Pahrump to Sherry's ranch out there. And, I just sort of hung out for about 2 days. And
oh, man,
that was a really nice tip. And then took him back.
That was always the chauffeur's dream.
Yeah, you get a percentage of whatever he chose.
Especially during CES. Mm-hmm. Because
that used to be good too.
Oh yeah, because the Asians would just load up the limos and book them on out there. And
now it's EDC. You got a lot bringing the kids back from EDC.
Yeah,
they're so desperate to come back after their little outdoor experience at 3 a.m.
Hey, they'll
pay anything to get a seat in the limo.
That's what June
17th and 19th, 17th, 18th, 19th.
200,000 screaming millennials.
I think it's even more than that. Something like 400,000.
God, that's just amazing. Mm-hmm. I remember that's what was it? The Electronic Daisy Carnival.
Electronic Daisy Carnival.
Yep.
Yeah, Electric Daisy Carnival.
Yeah, that's it. They take over the speedway from 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. to like 5 a.m.
5 in the morning. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And dress in colorful, glow-in-the-dark clothes.
Yep.
Funny clothes.
The first time that it was held here, I was doing a strip tour at night, and I had to pick up some people down at the Golden Nugget. And, these are seniors from Britain, and, they were just surrounded by these millennials in all the funny costumes. And, these seniors were just like, what's going on? They're like, we're surrounded by these weird people. Yes, welcome to EDC.
And they're very revealing costumes too.
Yes.
Like a little ballet tutu kind of thing,
yep.
or pasties and strange stuff like that.
Well, I know when I switched from doing nights to going to days limo, I lost over half my income because I wasn't getting the kickbacks. So.
Yeah. Yeah, the kickbacks were great. I think the most they were given at the strip clubs is $130 a head.
Yeah.
So you'd get the biggest car that you could for the night, and like a 14-passenger, and you just would hit all the doormen down in a row and give them your card, tell them to call you when they got somebody for you, and you'd load up. So you figure 14 people times $140.
Yep.
And you drop them all off. You'd go back, share a little bit with the doorman. He'd line you up again, and you do 6-7 runs a night. And you were taking home thousands of money, thousands of dollars. Yeah. Now it's $20 at the most, maybe $40, and you have to report your. They get your Social Security number right away, which is a little scary, giving your Social Security number to a strip joint.
To a doorman at a strip joint. Yeah,
at a strip joint. You show them your driver's license and.
Guys who have criminal records and
could very well be, yes, bouncers and stuff like that.
So why tour guide? We will get to the headlines here in a couple minutes, folks, but I just want to talk with Pam here.
For me, I was doing a little property management and such like that, and I've always loved wildlife and the animals out here. And I just wanted to get away from the strip. And I saw a company in town all the time going up and down, picking people up, taking them out to the canyons and things. And oddly enough, I had never, I'd flown into Grand Canyon Airport, but I've never actually walked around at these places. I've flown over them, but I never actually got down into the parks. And so I really wanted to check that out. And so I started with a company in town here. And did that, and was doing 7 different tours around the canyons, the national parks, the national conservation areas, and the state parks, such as Valley of Fire, which is a beautiful, beautiful place that gets so overlooked because it's a state park.
How do you explain Valley of Fire?
It's a very colorful state park, colorful rock formation state park, the very first state park in Nevada. And it's a great day trip. You can get there and get back and see just about everything in about 6 hours. So it's real easy.
because about the easiest way that I can explain it is if anyone watched Star Trek and they're on a deserted planet, chances are that's where it was shot.
Yes, yes. There was that episode with the big lizard on the original one. I always loved that one with Kirk. It was fighting the big sparkly eye lizard. I forgot what those things were called. And that was there.
That's the episode that was filmed there.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I'm like you. When I moved here, well, for me anyway, when I moved here, I wasn't going to spend much time here. This was just get out of Minnesota, warm up, and move on. But once you get out there, once I saw Red Rock, once I saw Spring Mountain, somehow I forgot how I got up to the Grand Canyon, but I fell in love with the Grand Canyon. Now here I am 15 years later, and I can't see leaving it. It's just, and I love it because we'll pick somebody up, and I love it when I have people on my tour who, I've been to Vegas 1,000 times, but my wife wants to go out and see Hoover Dam. And you pull out, you go down the 215, and they're like, you have Walmarts. Yeah, we have Walmarts. We're 2 million people. We have Walmarts. And they're just like, wow. It's like, okay, dude, we're not even out of the town yet. And you're still like, wow, this is cool. Yes, Vegas is more than a 4-mile strip. Okay.
Well, the real secret here is the natural side of Vegas. Nowadays, especially, you can internet gamble. You can go to Indian reservations and gamble and have that whole thing. And but once you get out away from Vegas and see the Grand Canyon and some of these other incredible bare earth areas that are, back east, everything's covered with trees,
right,
and houses and all this, but there's so much to see out here. It's just, this is the real selling point, but people don't realize it.
Yeah. Well, you get out of here, you get out of Vegas, you see Mother Nature in its rawest form, and then you realize, this used to be under ocean.
Right.
This used to be lush prairie. This is where, if you go to the State Museum at the Springs Preserve, you see one of the largest woolly mammoth skeletons that was pulled out of here. And you're going, that was here?
8,000 to 10,000 years ago.
Yeah.
And all this incredible stuff they find in the caves here from ancient Indian tribes, like moccasins that are like 12,000 years old.
Yeah.
And one of the coolest things was a duck decoy that I was reading about that was found in a cave up in... it was in the Central Valley. I want to say Ivanpah, but it was in the Central Valley, Laotian, right? It's right by the old Laotian lake that's no longer there. And these people lived there around the lake. They fished, they hunt, and this is what we have to remember them by from 10, 12,000 years ago.
Yeah.
It's just astounding. It's just amazing, the history.
It's a
and that's
fun
not
area.
even the geology part of it.
No, it's just, it's fun around here.
There's always something neat, some new mystery to unlock and put together with everything else that you've learned.
Well, I've got a couple friends there that are photographers, and over by the M, up on the mountainside, are old markers. They're arrows that...
Oh, yeah, from the old navigation routes. Yeah, that's there's actually one up towards Mesquite area up over that way too. Years ago, you went from one bonfire to the next, especially if you were flying the mail in some old plane, open cockpit plane or something. And you went from one bonfire to the next because at night you can't see features very well. You can't follow a trail or go from one mountain to the other because you can't see. It all blends in. Your horizon's gone.
Right.
So they would do fires, and then they went to beacon lights. And then they went to radio signals, and then combinations of radio signals and beacon lights and things like that. And
but it's like, that's still here. Those big arrows are still up on the mountain.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's really cool.
Yeah, there's some guy that went around to all the remaining ones and took pictures or wrote about it. I don't remember the name of the book, but...
Vegas history. Gotta love it.
Well, and look at all the Indian trails. The Arrowhead Trail.
Yes.
The old Spanish-American Trail. That's a whole fascinating thing all in its own right, too.
We love it.
We do. We're constantly finding out new things. It's like living in a museum.
Yeah, it is.
And you discover all these different things that unravel, and you learn more about. Sure, there's the whole gangster side of it and the old Vegas
Have you
side.
ever done
There's so much more than that.
Have you done the Monster Museum?
Oh, sure, lots of times. And that's a great museum. I highly suggest everybody should check that out. It's a little gruesome in some places, but, you got some dead pictures of dead people, The Valentine's Day Massacre wall.
Yeah.
Anastasia's shaving chair where he got murdered in.
Yeah.
A mob boss from back east.
Got shaved a little too close there.
Yeah, that was sort of replicated in The Godfather there, that sort of story. But
Switching gears.
yeah.
MGM paid parking. Do you agree with it? Are you going to do it?
I am against it. And I can't afford to pay for parking. And I think it's wrong that they're charging locals. And I think it's a trend, a slippery slope. They're all going to be charging for parking in the next 10 years, thanks to the fact that it's pure money coming in for these guys. Plus, there's so many arenas coming in the future. And these people are going to need a place to park. And they don't want them to park in the free self-parking.
No.
Or someone else's free self-parking.
Locals, state of Nevada people who live here will have free parking until December 26th, when MGM will once again step back and go, are we going to get slaughtered on social media again or not?
Like people are going to forget,
Yeah, no, we don't forget stuff like that.
Not the locals. The locals really
We're cheap.
Hold
cheap.
grudges.
We're cheap and we hold grudges.
Yeah.
Give us back our comps. Give us back our easy slot machine wins, and don't charge us for parking.
Mm-hmm. They're nickel and diming the locals. But it's obvious they don't care about the locals.
No,
they're going after the quantity.
Yeah.
The big groups.
Speaking of arenas, Sheldon Adelson, the Venetian, the 16th richest man in the world. I want to see the inside of one of his 747s so bad.
Well, he's got two.
Yep.
He's got two, and they're SPs, which is a shorter body. And because it has a shorter body, it has to have a taller tail because it's shorter from nose to the end.
Yeah.
It's got to have a taller tail to be able to turn it, rudder it, and to have stability in it. And but here's the unfortunate thing, is that he ordered them after he already made the hangar. And so the tails of the 747s do not fit in the hangar. They hang out.
They never planned for that.
Right. They planned for the tail height of a normal 747, which is longer and has a shorter tail, which is the kind that most of the airlines use.
Right.
And so that would have fit, but not the corporate version, which is called the SP. He also has a 7.5. He has two 7.4s, a 7.5, and a 7.3, all painted in his white and blue striped pattern.
Generic pattern.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I am not employed by either him or Wynn, because the way those two go after each other is just hilarious to sit back and watch, because where Sheldon built his terminal was originally supposed to be Wynn. Wynn had the first dibs on that contract. He let it expire. The moment it expired, Sheldon had it.
Yep.
And then he built that
big hangar.
And then over where he's at, Steve Wynn wants to take out the golf course, which he's always wanted to do. This is the thing people forget. First of all, the Wynn was not supposed to be named the Wynn. It was supposed to be called Le Rêve, which is the
that's right.
the show there.
Mm-hmm.
And
the dream,
right? And he never wanted the golf course. The only reason he has the golf course, from what I've been told, do not sue me, Steve. According to the tour gossip, always was that the only reason he had to put the golf course in was the same reason he put Shadow Creek in, was to get the high rollers, the whales, to invest. The Asians, which is his number one market.
Yeah, that's his clients.
They weren't going to go to the Wynn unless he had a golf course. So he put a golf course. Now it's a Steve Wynn golf course. You play it north and south, so you're never facing into the sun.
Right. Right.
And it's, and it's a Steve Wynn golf course. It's a gorgeous golf course, but he always wanted to put a convention center in there. He was going to put condominiums in there at one time. So now when he came up and he said, okay, I want to put in a water attraction, a convention center, and a small hotel, the numbers he was putting out there weren't making sense. He was saying something like 15 to 20,000 tourists a day would go through there, which, being where he's at, did not make much sense other than the weekends when he's got the beach clubs. But then when Sheldon popped up and said, I want to build a 17,000-seat concert arena here,
that's right. Yeah,
I went,
remember that.
oh, now I'm seeing the
rivalry
numbers.
going in.
Yeah, because when you look at the Sands Convention Center, right behind it is the Wynn parking lot, the Wynn parking garage. That was built. Steve Wynn bought those apartments in there. Sheldon bought the apartments next to it, which is that big empty lot there. Sheldon wanted to put a second convention center there and then do a walkway from his convention center across Koval through the Wynn parking lot to his convention center. Well, Steve Wynn said no. Well, now with a concert hall in there, that'll be a goal.
And that area, of course, is Manhattan Street is one side of it, and Koval's the other side. And it's in between a timeshare, a Holiday Inn timeshare, and the Wynn employee garage there, off of Venetian Way, Koval, and Manhattan Street.
I have one memory of the apartment complex on that corner.
What's that?
CES, the Consumer Electronics Show. We were boarding the buses at the Sands Convention Center to go to the convention center, right? So the whole traffic mess was right there. There was an apartment complex right there, right on the corner in the parking lot. A guy and a cheap hooker getting it on right there.
Yeah.
And I mean, all of the buses were just stopped there. And we're all just, it's like, really, we're watching these two get it on?
Oh, my. Yeah, there's a lot of action around that area. The Flamingo Wash goes through there, too, and that's always an infamous flooding point.
Oh, God.
And that would be interesting how that'll affect this whole growth going on there.
Yeah. Well, also...
Stuff goes all over the place when it floods.
Also, at that time, CES... also, the porn convention was being held there.
Yeah, so. The adult video, show
news
was going
show.
on, too. Oh. Now they've changed the dates of that a little bit.
Yeah, and they moved it over to... this year was in February at Hard Rock.
Ah, there you go. And they got the fetish ball, too, over there,
Halloween.
Which is another winter one, too.
Then... Sheldon popped up and said, hey, I want to move the Dome Stadium to the Riviera site. And I'm just like, let's not get into that pissing match.
Yeah, they got the Las Vegas Convention Center there now. They're going to expand in there. They just got rid of the parking garage, and I think they're going to do the hotel in July and August. They're going to implode it.
The first tower is rumored to go down on June 14th. The second tower would be sometime in September.
Okay. I know they had to take a lot of asbestos out of the walls and stuff. They already took out a lot of the lighting fixtures, the neon stuff, because they can recycle that or reuse that. But the asbestos was a big issue. Yeah.
So look for the Wynn golf course to go away. Steve actually went down to the Fremont Street Experience. Thank you, Scott Rubin, and rode the zip line down there.
Did he?
Because he wants to put a zip line in his park.
Really?
Yeah. So Steve Wynn, in true Steve Wynn style, showed up with no entourage, no media presence, just him, his bodyguards, and his wife.
Wow.
Not the dogs. He has two beautiful German shepherds. So
really?
That's basically it, because paid parking goes in for everyone else, I think, next week or the week after. And I'm just dying to see if people will actually boycott it. It's a whole online thing. I will never pay it. Yes, you will.
Well, I'm already seeing a lot of people that don't want to go into the parking structure, and they're coming up to the curb area around bus tour lobbies and other places to avoid having to go into the garages.
Yeah.
And that plus all the influx of Uber drivers everywhere It's gotten to be a little crowded and chaotic at the bus tour lobbies in particular.
Uber and Lyft. Oh,
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, that's a whole nother subject.
Yeah.
The big suggestion I would love to say about those Uber drivers is please close your doors when you get out to load your passengers. They open their driver door and run around to the other side. You can't get around them or anything. They stop in the middle of the road instead of going close to the curb. I mean, just basic driver stuff that you would learn if you were a professional driver.
Yes.
In limos or taxis, you would learn that, but they don't know that yet.
Yes.
A lot of them.
Some of us, especially when we come back after a 14-hour Grand Canyon South tour, gets, we might just look at that door as a good target.
Yeah. Play a little chicken with an Uber guy here or there.
Come on, dude. Open that door. Open that door. Come on. Yes, yes, yes. Ooh. What do you think our 3 Vegas tourists must do?
Well, it depends if they're Vegas virgins or not. If it's her first visit.
Let's say for this question, I usually go for like first-time Vegas tourists.
Okay, they got to go to the Bellagio Fountains, the Bellagio Botanical Garden. The Bellagio is a classic old Wynn hotel. And, of course, the fountains go off pretty regularly. But the Botanical Garden's really nice, too. They change that flower arrangements around every season.
Isn't that amazing?
That's really nice. It's amazing. They still are doing that. They used to have a lot of butterflies in there, but there was something going on with the butterflies. They had to let them go. But the flower is still a cool thing, the flower show there. Other stuff to do is to go over to the Venetian and see the moats and the canals and the gondoliers. That's a pretty amazing thing here in the desert to have here. We sort of take it for granted, but it's a pretty wild thing to see. And there's a lot of shops in there, too. They also have a terrific wax museum there. It's Madame Tussauds. If you've never been to a wax museum, you've got to go once in your life. It's a pretty good photo opportunity. You put your arm around some of the celebrities' and then take a picture. It's really fun. So I would definitely do that. If you have time, I'd go down to Old Vegas and cruise around Old Vegas because that's where it all started in 1905.
What's your favorite downtown? Do you have a favorite?
I've got two. I love the Golden Gate, of course, for the history of it being the first hotel casino in 1905 is the Hotel Nevada, and then changing over to the Golden Gate name and a few other ones years after that. They've got one side that's still the original hotel casino. You can see the first phone they had in there, the registration books. Really good, nice little blue plate special diner that's open 24 hours a day with fantastic pancakes.
Yes, the pancakes.
Oh my gosh, they make put melted butter in them or something. They're fabulous. And then next door to that is the Golden Nugget, of course. The Golden Nugget, I love the Grotto Italian restaurant. That's one of my favorite Italian restaurants. Pizza and Italian food, Italian pastas and such. And they got that terrific aquarium there to watch and that nice little bar there in the pool area, which is really neat to see. And it's the only place you can go and buy gold in an instant.
In an
they
ATM
got the
machine.
Gold ATM machine
I love
there,
that.
right next to the Golden Nugget. They've got a gold ATM machine, and you can put in credit card or cash. It figures out the gold rate at that moment in time, and then you choose from either a small little gold bar, a little charm, or a little coin, or something like that. What a terrific way to bring back your winnings. Meaning to get down there and get a charm. So I like those two places a lot. And then, of course, the Mobster Museum on 4th and Stewart. And then, of course, the old Mormon fort. That's pretty cool to see still. The old ranch house a couple blocks away.
Do you think, is there a Vegas hidden gem? Do you have a hidden gem that?
Any new discovery in Vegas is like the gem of the time. But I think the real secret is the natural side of Vegas.
Okay.
That's where I think it's really at. It's just a constantly unfolding puzzle and mystery, and it's so good for you to get out and see the natural side of Vegas.
Favorite Vegas show?
Oh gosh, I've had several through the years. Tony Bennett's the best. He was just fabulous when I saw him at the Paris, I believe, years ago. He was there. I also liked Danny Gans when he was here. He was a fabulous performer that passed away. So, really, really good there. Those are probably the two that I think right off the top of my head that I really liked.
How about now?
Oh, gosh. For the production shows, I still like Ka. I still like O. Those are really good. The theater is really set up for the show, and that's sort of a neat thing to just watch all of that. The mechanical arm, the setting, and everything. It really puts you in another place and time.
Yeah, can just sit there. I always sit there and go, how did they come up with it? B, how do you find somebody that can do that? Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, I need someone that can turn themselves into a pretzel while jumping off of. It's like, where do you find these people? And
the costumes too.
Oh my
Some
God.
really great costumes that they sort of morph into different creatures and things. Yeah, it's a good show there.
Final question. Mm-hmm. Favorite Vegas movie?
Oh gosh, there's so many. Casino, it was so well done.
Yep.
It really caught everybody by surprise too. I used to live in the country club over there, so I sort of knew some of the stuff that was going on, and I thought that was the best one. But there's so many. I mean, Con Air, 3,000 Miles to Graceland. Viva Las Vegas. My goodness, there's so many, so many.
Did you go through the Sahara when they had the auction and you could walk through the whole place?
Yeah. I wanted to buy the camel. Everybody was fighting to buy the camel. It had a name. I forgot what it was. And then the Riviera too.
Yeah,
the Riviera had a nice little auction.
But it's like you go through, went up into the suites. And they took the numbers off, so you didn't know. But I was up there, and I had people that are like, okay, this is the suite that they shot this in. Mm-hmm. And you're like, okay, they haven't updated it since that movie.
Yeah, it was dated, especially the Riviera was.
Oh God, yes. So
Sahara had a lot of history.
Yeah.
A lot of history.
So you don't have one particular.
Casino is probably my favorite one of them all. It was really a blockbuster.
Yeah.
But there's so many. They're all good for different things, What's yours?
Definitely Casino.
Yeah.
But then I also got to watch it with a mobster. So yeah.
Yeah, that's right. You do have some connections.
Yeah.
You've established here.
Yeah. It took us almost 6 hours to go through that movie because kept stopping it, going, okay, now let me tell you how this really happened. And then it's funny because in our last podcast, we talked to how Debbie and I went to see the Wayne Newton Ranch, and we're in his house, and they're telling us that in the movie Vegas Vacation, they filmed that entire scene, other than the bus crashing through the door, was filmed actually in his house. It's right there. I like. I always tell my guests, if they're adults, Con Air, zip past everything but the last 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Now that you've been to Vegas, when they bring that plane down and crash it,
Stardust.
Look at the order they put these casinos in.
It's a little.
They go through downtown twice. They clip the Hard Rock after the Stratosphere, the Mardi Gras, which is, I mean, that's a great movie just for that crash scene, because they put almost every landmark within 50 miles of here on the Strip, and it's just like, yeah, okay, and then they crash it into the Sands, which is now the Venetian. So yeah, those are my two favorites. So all right,
yeah, cool.
Anything you want to say? Anything you want to end with?
Well, it's been an interesting experience living in Vegas here in Henderson and the surrounding area here for the last few decades, and you just never know what's around the corner. You really don't. There's always some big thing that's going down here in this town.
Vegas is always changing. It's always evolving. And it's like I tell people, for the most part, unless we work on the Strip, we don't go down there because we have everything out here.
Yeah, we got our locals casinos.
Yeah,
bowling, movies, horse stuff at the South Point.
Yeah, or you just we have the old railroad bed which goes out to Hoover Dam. We have Lake Mead right behind us here, so it's just I always like it because people can't imagine Vegas without the Strip, but there's just so much here. Come on out, enjoy it. This is Mark Anthony. That's Pam. Say good night, Pam.
Good night, folks.
If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, of course, you can drop us a line at thevegastourist.com. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube, and all of the usual. Again, this is Mark Anthony, podcast number 210, and we will talk to you next time.
It's getting dark, the show's